On November the 8th, 2016, a political revolution occurred. That's a quote from General Mike Flynn, President Trump's former national security advisor. And General Flynn was absolutely right. It was a peaceful revolution, but a revolution nonetheless. Why? Because the man who is now the most powerful person in the world is not a politician and was not beholden to any part of the existing political establishment. I can tell you this because I've worked for him. I've worked for him during the campaign and in the White House. First time I met Donald Trump was in the summer of 2015, just prior to a Republican candidate's debate, when I was asked to travel to Trump Tower in New York and meet with then Mr. Trump. We talked about national security issues, about my potentially working for him as an advisor. And then halfway through the meeting, there's only three of us in the room, myself, Corey Lewandowski, his then campaign manager, and the future president of America. Halfway through the discussion, Mr. Trump stopped, turned to his campaign manager and said, "I like this guy. Let's hire him." That's who he is. He doesn't wait for polling figures. He has an incredibly accurate instinct, and he is decisive. That is something that we don't see on the left or the right. The President of the United States is only accidentally a GOP politician. In fact, he never held public office before he came into the White House and never served as a general in our military, which has never happened before. He is a man who appeals across the board with his common sense. I saw this most vividly when in the summer of last year, we flew to Youngstown, Ohio, which is the center of Steel Valley. We were there for a rally. We drove from the airbase where Air Force One landed for about 20 minutes to the stadium, passing disused steel mill after disused steel mill. We arrived at the location, tens of thousands of local people from Ohio, individuals who you know, because I met with them. We were taking selfies for at least half an hour before the president gave his speech. People who had been registered Democrats, whose parents and grandparents had voted Democrat. But when the First Lady, Melania, and when the president came on stage, the audience erupted. They chanted, "USA, USA," and drained the swamp. How is this possible? It's possible because we've had a political revolution and a man who responds to the failure of left and right in Washington, D.C. What does this mean for the midterms? Well, watch the president's CPAC speech that he just gave. I would say, quoting a good friend, Larry O'Connor, a radio host here in D.C., that the November midterm campaign began on Friday when the president gave his CPAC speech. He was very, very commonsensical. He actually said at one point, "This scripted speech is boring, so I'm going to go off prompter." He said to the audience, "We will never let them take away your Second Amendment rights." He pulled out a poem from his pocket, a poem about a snake that is taken in and then attacks the person that is looking after it, as an analogy for the broken immigration system we've inherited. He connected with the audience. Everybody there knew that things have changed. Question is, do the Democrats and does the GOP establishment? It seems the Democrats have no idea. They still don't understand what happened in November of 2016. They're still talking about Russia, 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 and have this collusion delusion when most Americans simply don't care. They see the booming economy, they see the tax reform, the bonuses companies are giving, and they're going to vote with their pocketbooks. But what about the GOP? What about the party that is normally the president's? Well, they have a decision to make. They need to understand that the president won despite the GOP, not because of the grand old party. If they understand that, they can ride his shirt tails to a victory in November, which will mean 7 more years of Donald Trump. We have had a revolution in America. We will see if the establishment understands. Thank you for watching the Gorka Briefing. If you like this video, please check out the Rebel Media YouTube channel Follow me on Twitter at Seb Gorka, that's SEBGORKA, and share these videos on Facebook and Twitter, because with your help, we can push back on the fake news industrial complex and finally get the truth out. God bless.